the podcast.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, maybe we can start. Okay, I would like to share my screen with this. So
It's
yeah,
visible.
yeah. Okay. Now, thank you guys for being here today. We're going to talk about a sensitive but increasingly relevant issues, the rise of incest, the rise of online incest fantasies. And what interests me to talk about this topic is how something once considered deeply the taboo is now gaining visibility online, and how this raises complex questions about psychology, anonymity, online safety, and societal responsibility. And I hope each of you will be motivated and eager to share your unique perspectives on these issues, and please feel free to speak up respectfully and constructively throughout the discussion. So now let's move on to the first slide. Before we jump into the discussion, I'd like to start by showing you something that recently circulated online. What you see on this slide is a compilation of screenshots from news headlines and social media about the emergence and controversies surrounding the social media, especially a Facebook group called Fantasies. This group sparked strong public reactions because the group's content triggered the reports, suspensions, and debates on any platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and also TikTok. And in this viral case has brought so uncomfortable but necessary issue into public awareness, and that's exactly why we're here today. So, uh, let's begin our discussion with a fundamental question. Why do people have incest fantasies, and why do some parents become predators? Feel free to speak from psychological, cultural, or even personal observation point of view, guys. Let's hear what you think, and anyone would like to start sharing their thoughts, please feel free to raise your hand. Is anyone want to share their thoughts about why do people have incest fantasies, and why do some parents become predators?
If there is known, you may pinpoint or ask someone to bring his or her thoughts on this question.
Okay. Maybe we can start from Mr. Sunshine. What do you think?
Thank you. Um, I think the incest fantasies is like a Japanese proverb. If I'm not mistaken, it's like the chemistry, the chemical, the romance will become stronger and even bolder whenever we have often and how does this like stronger frequencies. We have like how to say it's like significant closeness towards towards somebody, and it decreased the unfamiliarity. So we become so much close, and we know exactly who they are. And I think this somehow becomes something that is should be distinguishable between pure affection, love, especially how to say it's like a platonic love, because it's kind of love that doesn't want to how does this like sacrifice something. Okay, it's parental love. However, I think it's due to external factors. Okay, for example, like too many porns, or probably the influence of somebody and the environments, because sometimes it's not us that is being exposed to some porns, but um, for example, our friends or our colleagues that might bring this onto the table, and we get exposed, we get even more curious, and we put this onto something that's still within our circle, and the closest one will be the family themselves. Okay, so I think this is also related to how wild someone thoughts can be. Okay, I mean like in porns, they increase, they go beyond what normal people would do when they have sex, right? So it's like the idea of having sex with the families, like having sex with his own mother, with the daughter, with uncles, with aunts, and so on, and stepsister, something have been easily found, and this can make our thoughts become detailed. And if we don't have something to channel our lust or our curiosity, okay, this will uh, go to soak. Yeah, this will become even more dangerous. So I can say not only environments, but also uh, whether or not we have a strong self-constraint to ourselves, because uh, we need to have something that can foster our sanity, our awareness as a families that should be protecting the family members. So I can say that is why it's like in economics we have demand and supply theories, right? So whenever there is a demand, there would be a supply there. So whenever we have a willing, many people believe that there is a will, there is a way. Right? It can also lead to some negative outcome just like this. So families, anyone. I mean, like in TV, whenever there is a chance, there would be a way to make it come true. So um, we need to be how to say it's like we need to build up our mental resilience. Luckily, considering myself as a Muslim, we still have like fasting. I think fasting is like and praying are a good way, a good mechanisms to protect and maintain or increase the quality of our self restraint. Yeah, it's I don't know. Probably if we do not really care about the praying or something that's so much religious, we can also put have a bring ourselves into healthy relationships, a healthy ecosystem, healthy environments that support us mentally. I think to have role models, to have strong public figures that provide us with good advices to nurture our sanity in this crazy world, I think is one of the essential factors to protect us from getting into these kinds of silly circumstances. I think that's my response. Yes, Hannah.
Thank you, Mr. Sanction. It's interesting point. Like, you tell us about how environment, friends, and also colleague can just impact us being this way, like the incest fantasies way. Now, we go to Miss Dea. Is there any perspective, another perspective from you about this question?
Yeah, of course. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. It sounds great topic for tonight. It's something related to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory. There are three components: the ID, ego, and superego. The first one, ego. We want to do a desire, but we have superego to control it. That's why I suppose that education and religion be the essential thing behind the consideration to do it. Why education? Because through it we have to think, we have a responsibility, thinking to solve a problem, and of course because of that we can see between right way or it's wrong way. Yeah, that.
Okay, Miss Dea, that's it.
Sorry,
Now
my
let's move on
connection.
to Mr. Zain.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you want to share about your perspective? Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for the opportunity. I think I just want to add what Dea has mentioned about ego. I want to share from the psychology perspective. Yeah, I think we all agree that we have ego, something, a desire from our unconscious mind. And I ever met a psychologist, and she said that we all have feelings. So when we refer incest or sexual preferences or sexual deviance, I think I would say that it is something that occur naturally, even though we perceive that it is weird or it is unusual, but somehow why it occurs because it developed naturally, whether it is shaped by the environment or upbringings or anything else. Like when I grew up, I just found out that people have some kink or people have some kink or weird sexual fantasies. So when we mention about the sexual preferences, I think it's something natural, but we still have limitation. So aside from ego, we also have, if I'm not mistaken, id or id, or I don't know, but yeah, I think we have limitation when we have conscious mind. We can limit or we can filter of our thinking whether it is wrong or right. And so in my psychologists say that when it comes to action, it is then what can be perceived whether it is wrong or right. But but we mention but if we refer about feeling, it's something natural. I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you for your insight, Mr. Zain. It's talk about the psychology perspective and what if they become in action and about the feeling, the desire about this incest fantasies. And now, Miss Dea, you wanna continue the what you share about your perspective? Since
Okay,
you
okay.
lost your connection.
Yeah, sorry, I lost my connection. Okay. It's something related to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory that I mentioned before. There are three components: the ID, ego, and superego. The first one, ego. We want to do a desire, but we have superego to control it. That's why I suppose that education and religion be the essential thing behind the consideration to do it. Why education? Because through it we have the thing, we have a responsibility, critical thinking to solve a problem, and of course we can see between right way or it's wrong way. And I agree with Mr. Sunshine too. The next one, I believe that the environment have a big influence. If many people in his environment do it, he will normalize it, and yeah, it's such a bad thing. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Dea. It's all about the environment give a big impact and big influence to show the desire about the incest fantasies and make parents become the predators. And now maybe we can move on to the next questions. Mm, what makes online incest? Oh, sorry. Oh. What makes online incest fantasies grow, and is this issue a symptom of deeper social loneliness or disconnection? Is anonymity making people the bolder online? Let me hear your perspective. Who wanna go first? Maybe um what do you think, Mr. Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we hear your perspective about this question?
Sorry, I don't know about the question because I'm still
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. What about Miss Dea?
Let me think.
Okay. Is there anyone want to share your perspective about this question? This question is focused toward the digital world, about how can people do this online, and is it the anonymity? What is the social loneliness? Deeper social loneliness. So, mm, I think social.
We have a lot of people here. You can just invite like
Mm,
Taya, Olivia, Tifa, and
okay.
invite them to us to respond.
What do you think, Miss Diva? You want to share about your perspective? Okay, Mr. Zain.
Okay. So as I said before that the feeling itself might be something natural, but somehow why it then become an action, especially when it is manifested into something online, into something digital. This is might be my assumption, but perhaps it happens because that person doesn't find a place to express that feeling. So when they don't find place to express the feeling and they seek some relatable feeling, so they find a community, they try to express it online to express their feeling. So I think it is important for people that if they are aware that they have something unusual, it is important to seek the professional help. Yeah, to find appropriate place to express what they feel.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zain. You told us about people do this online because they doesn't find place to express the feelings. That's why they're make advantage with the anonymity to seek some relatable feelings and find the community to more express the feelings, right? So is there another different perspective you guys want to share? What do you think, Miss Taya?
Okay, I agree with Mr. Zain that every human needs have a natural instinct, especially about reproductive. But we maybe also have a norm law that regulate us about what to do and what not to do. But instinct is instinct. Gitu. Something uncommon maybe is unique and maybe fetish is appear because sometimes larangan forbidden just like daya tarik gitu. And it also popularized by the modern pornography and maybe when when people gather with other people who have something that they like, they will feel more support. And maybe this is also related with the individuation theory that explain why do people in internet is more likely to share about their fetish because the individuation there's a condition when a person lost their sense of personal identity and individual responsibility when they become a part of large group or crowd. And maybe because they are anonym in internet, they think that it will not be my apa ya personal flaws gitu, kesalahan tunggal, but they can how to say uh meng- mengajak orang lain gitu kayak uh, that who the people that responsibility have responsibility of this group is anggota grup itu juga gitu. I'm sorry for my broken English. Yeah,
It's
thanks.
okay. Okay, that's it, Miss Taya. That's a cool
Yeah.
perspective. That's another different perspective. Okay, let me hear your perspective, Miss Dea.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Perhaps it's too taboo when they talk or they share it directly, so they decide to make a group with some of people with the same thing, or probably they don't have another things to do. That's my opinion.
That's cool. That's cool. Miss Dea said because they do this because it's a taboo to share directly in a real life, in a real world. So they make a group anonymously, and um, Miss Taya, uh, Miss Taya said is because popularized by the modern pornography, which now it's so many uncommon things on modern pornography, and people ignorant is usually do this to share the fetish, to share the fetish anonymously. So let's move on to the next question. Now, the question is about the responsibility. Should the government, platforms, or the users be blamed? Why or why not? Okay, Mr. Helmi.
Yes, there should be blame. This is like this is a bad action, and someone has to be responsible for this, especially the regulator. As for this case, is the government, the platform where, yeah, uh, the platform also regulated the term in the social media, right? And also users. Why? So as you know, users um back to your previous question, like the anonymity, protecting the true identity of the user. But yes, being in social media, user can do whatever they want. And I mean, like the users of a platform should have a limitation. What and what should and um, what should they write or share or anything in the social media, in the platform. As for the platform, I know this is maybe this is hard because the platforms have to watch all of the action, all of the groups on their platform. This is their responsibility. As for the government, the root cause of why people do this is because like bad governance from the government. People intend to seek an entertainment in the social media, and yes, government should regulate this and give information about how this is a wrong action, how this is a bad action. Okay, that's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hilmi. Mr. Hilmi said the blame is mostly we should blame the users because they anonymous take advantage of anonymous and they should have the limitation what and why should they do this do this do that the right and the wrong things. And is there any other opinion about this question? Okay, Mr. Zain, Mr. Theo, let's give this screen to Mr. Theo first, okay?
All right, thank you. First of all, I'm not a psychologist or a person who knows everything about psychological terms. But if I can give my 2 cents, I can use any definitions to support the people to have a good, better understanding for the discussion. But for this specific question, first, I'm not here to point fingers blindly, but if we can be very real, the blame cannot just fall on just one party, because you mentioned three of them, right? Governments, platforms, or you can say so social media, and the users themselves, especially Indonesian users. Government for sure are supposed to set the tone. They are the one who regulates the policy making. So they need to update the policies enforcing digital protections law for Indonesian society. Even though that we've noticed a lot of people still use social media platforms easily because our governments are not really strict enough with the regulations, and how many social media issues related with that particular topic can also be accessed by a lot of Indonesians. So when the enforcement is weak, then yeah, we can blame government. In this particular condition, our governments are not strong enough to regulate this, especially all the others like cyberbullying. Every single things are still not real regulated properly and correctly. But if we're talking about the platforms, are the social media really regulating the policy to limit the topics that are sensitive? The question is some of, especially when you're using like TikTok, they're actually limiting several topics that is already imposed by the algorithm. If you keep watching like cats fighting, then that's what are actually showing up in your um, FYP, if I'm not mistaken. But for other stuff like social, Instagram, Facebook, which are still very um, not that strict enough with this kind of sensitive topic, they cannot just play innocent either, right? Even though they're looking for users all across the world, it doesn't mean that they're open with any topics that are probably sensitive to certain countries, especially Indonesia. So I think with the development of AI, algorithms, and all this people engage with the topics, I think those tech companies like Meta, Facebook, or whatever can actually limit this kind of topic. So they also are responsible to be blamed if they don't regulate it well. But as we are the users as well, we also need to be able to report those topics that we think are sensitive as well. You cannot just blame all the governments or the platform just because they post something that are sensitive. So we need to report them. For example, how we need to report harass if he plays Instagrams or TikTok because he's still under 18 years old. But we never really care about that much until we think that the topic is sensitive to our society. Have we reported a child using social media? If you found one, raise your hand if you did. None. That's great. So the point is, three of this things that you mentioned are responsible to those. So I don't want to blame one, but if we are responsible and to roughly discuss about this thing, I think we should really see. But Indonesians are just so underwhelming. Yeah, that's my opinion. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Theo. That's a good another perspective. It's the government especially need to limit the topics into the social media, the access. Okay, Miss Dea, you want to share about a different view or something?
Okay, thank you. I totally agree with Mr. Helmi said before. I guess the users and platforms should be blamed. But recently, I see a lot of information of this problem on Instagram. So the platforms at the same time have a good perspective when we have a responsibility to share right things. So the government know it and take an action. Perhaps, yeah, that's my opinion.
Thank you, Miss Dea. What do you think, Miss Tifa? You have any perspective or view? Or Miss Aulia? Hello? Ah. Mm,
Hello, can you hear my voice?
yeah.
Oh, okay. First of all, I'm so before. The question is, should government, platforms, or user be blamed? Mm, I'm so sorry, but can you give me a little explanation? Because I'm late to come to the Zoom.
Okay. So
Ah.
it's all about the controversy surrounding the Facebook group, about Fantasies, Saudara, the incest relationship,
Oh,
the relationship between mother with their daughter, which is so uncommon and not normal. And what do you think about that? should governments or the platforms which they use the community in Facebook or the users should blame?
Thank you.
Yeah. So you have your perspective already, or you wanna think about that first? Okay, Mr. Harris. I thought you want to share about your view. Mr. Yazid?
Hello there. Do you hear
Yeah,
me?
hello. Yeah, I can hear you clear.
Okay, well, I think if that's about blaming, I think that everybody could be blamed due to the users. How do we call it? Cringe, fetish, yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, first from the users, and second is from the government, who could be blamed because of their power to regulate everything that coming inside our country. I mean, what are the function of Kamtiki? They aren't taking down the Tudor King. They aren't trying to taking down this problem either. What did we pay them for? And for the platform, yeah, they're the reason why people, those freaky ass people, the real motherfucker, I think, yeah, is now that, well, there are communities for incest, yeah. So everybody should be blamed for this. I think that's what I think about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yazid. Okay, Mr. Zain, what do you think about this?
Okay, thank you. I think if I may beg to differ, uh, if I beg to differ, I would say that government shouldn't be blamed for this in terms of the regulation, because they have already clear regulation about that. We have uh, information electronic information transaction law or Undang-Undang ITE. So, but when it comes to the implementation, perhaps the government could do more on that. But I think who should be blamed more are the users, because as I said before, that when it comes to the feeling or the preference, perhaps it is something natural, but when it becomes an action, it is something that can be imposed by law. So by that mean, the users they can be imposed by the UUTE or electronic information law. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zain. That's a valuable point. It's okay, Miss Alia. Let me hear your perspective.
Okay, thank you for the chance. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah, I can clearly hear your voice.
I think government platforms and user need should need to be blamed because this is how do you say kelalaian? I think this is government's fault. They cannot evaluate their regulation. So many platforms can many platform in many platforms can how do you say mengandung negative content, and then the platform in our country need to be blamed because a good platform should contain good news, good information, good data to our generation. So if the platforms didn't contain good news, I think the platforms need to be blamed too. And then for the user, I think they just how do you say mempedulikan? They just care about their kesenangan, but didn't have pemikiran jangka panjang for our generation. So I think the government, platforms, and the user need to evaluate themselves. So we as what do you say warga negara, we as warga negara can live in the good government and then good environment. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Alia. What do you think, Mr. Sunshine?
I just want to add a bit. I think the one should be blamed would be the users because even if the algorithm of Facebook is not stronger as Instagram or TikTok, for example, but I think the algorithm also play systematically based on the interest of the users. So I think it leads them to having absorbed in such a group because they have previous willingness, awareness in such kinds of insights, and it brings them closer to what they need the most, which is a community that can become a platform for them to express their emotions, their thoughts freely without being judged. Because again, our society is so much judgmental, and again is also responding the previous statement by Mr. Zen that it is indeed true, something about the loneliness, that we are how does this like starve, we are so much starving for recognition. uh, we are not we are not always appreciated in the middle of our society. So, in the case of having this kind of dignity or societal approval, we do something that beyond normal. So, beyond normal is becoming how does this like an abnormal achievement that not normal people would do, right? And that becomes even more extraordinary for them to achieve. And being appreciated by the same kind, those with the same cause, will be having a similar level of satisfaction. And this will nurture them to keep growing inside the ecosystem. So yeah, I think it should be the users to be blamed, not the governments nor the platforms.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sunshine. So, is there any another view about who to blame, government, platforms, or the users? Which Mr. Sunshine tell us that the users mostly should be blamed, and they are told us that the three of these things is should be bound to. And is there anyone who would like to respond and give different view about this question?
Mr. Anwar is there, Miss Hannah.
Okay, Mr. Anwar, you want to share about your view?
Mr. Anwar, are you there?
Maybe the others first, Miss, because I will prepare it first.
Okay. Is there anyone who want to share about the perspective? So it's kind of so many different perspective from you guys, like, or ones tell the government is the most to blame, and another perspective said the user is mostly should be blamed. Okay, that's it. There's no one wanna share. What about yours, Mr. Is moderator, if you're willing to? So, in my opinion, the platforms it should be have the good regulation, the policy like X. If you know X now, in Indonesia is stricted for sensitive content. So not all of the negative content, but still there's negative content can be reached by the society, the users of the X. X is the new name of the Twitter. But I also surprised by the community in Facebook because they not give the limitation about the content, about what they talk about in the in the community. So yeah, but the users too, if like what Mr. Sunshine say, if they have self-awareness to not to do that, she she or they she or he they will not do that. That's so wrong, actually. That's not normal, especially for us, but they think that's normal, like them. That's my perspective, Mr. Yazid. Is there any something one to share a different perspective, or want to tell us that not three of this is should be blamed or something? You can just share that. Okay. Should I move on to the next question? Okay. The next question is, where should the line be drawn between the freedom of expression and moral responsibility in digital spaces? How do we protect both individual rights and social well-being? So this question is delicate between the rights and responsibilities in digital space. Okay, Mr. Sunshine.
I think something forgotten to be put in the previous slide would be the patterns. Okay. I must admit that we cannot exclude the potential children to be part of the members of the group. Right? And this can also be dangerous because we want to protect both, especially the vulnerable ones, women and children. But they can be also significant actors in the community, right? Because when it comes to a community, we don't consider a particular gender. Everyone can be involved, actively involved there, right? Okay, now I'm going to respond to the question here. Yeah, and it is therefore by highlighting the parents, um, as the one with the highest authority within the family. So I think they should be more responsible with this. The freedom of expression should not be caged or controlled in a way, because um, um, we live in a democratic country, and we need this kinds of engagement is inevitable. It's something that we cannot avoid. It's something that we need to nurture ourselves to become even wiser, because we want more organic responses, so that we can exercise our mindsets and help others also to be more rational with the thoughts, right? So the moral responsibility should be on the hands of the parents as the head of the family. They should be held accountable for whatever happening here, and of course, if it doesn't work in the case of the parents, means that um, the government should be the ones to provide a critical analysis on what kinds of short-term impact or long-term impacts that need to be most significant concern, so that it doesn't hurt. Every regulation will not hurt the freedom of expression. I think the freedom of expression is penetrating that way, even if we live with the ease concept of morality, but I think it should be modernized to some extent. Okay, I think that's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Sunshine. Next, Mr. Theo, let me hear your perspective. Mr. Theo?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were, Mr. Johnson was still talking. All right. Here is how I see it. Okay. First of all, Mrs. Johnson already mentioned about the freedom of speech. I think that, or freedom of expressions, that I believe everyone knows the definitions. I think freedom of expression doesn't, define that you're able to speak whatever in your mind, or whatever is possible to share in any platforms available, because those two that you mentioned, freedom of expressions and more responsibilities, are two sides of the same coin, right? And in a digital space, the line between these two can usually get really blurry, because if you want to say something out of your mind, sometimes it's just something that it's harmful for other people, but not all the time. But sometimes that you want to share harmful, usually are something out of your freedom expression. So both can be really dangerous. But at the same time, like Mr. Sasha already mentioned about how important it is to understand the fundamentals of how you want to share your expressions or your thoughts or whatever you want to share in your minds. But when we were talking about content that goes viral, gets amplified by algorithms, the social media, especially like X. I believe that why you brought up this topic, because you read X topics. I've seen a lot of topics, posted in X talking about this topic as well. Don't get me wrong. I think when we're talking about freedom of expression, meaning that you should question yourself at first. Just because I can say this, should we, you know, have you ever questioned yourself when you want to post something or when you want to say something? Should we post this? Should I say this? So the line between these two must be related with whether or not your opinion or whatever you want to post in social media that will be amplified by algorithm are creating violence or harm act to other people. While if it's not, it's just like your 2 cents upon the government's opinion or government's regulations, but not certain topics like this. I know this is a fetish when you're having sexual desires, weird sexual desires, because I believe Sunshine does have too. But the question is not about whether or not you have a fetish. Is your fetish harming people, especially when you are doing it with your family members, which is already regular with our health protocol, that the chance of having anomaly between your bloodlines is getting higher if you're marrying or having a relationship with the closest bloodlines you have, especially the family members. So it's supposed to be regulated. And the spice of that talking in social media should be, you know, shown by how we need to question ourselves first. But I know that not everyone has the wise or the maturity of questioning themselves to post on social media. But my points of view that I think everyone needs to learn how to censor themselves first, to really learn social media at the end of the day, because I believe the Indonesian is really open and frontal when it comes to opinion. That's why they don't even censor whatever they say. Even in here, some people even do profanity. If you can learn how to censor yourself, then I think it's just getting better. In this world, I think you just need to be wise and noticing that everything that can harm to other people needs to be underlined first to not be shared. If you can share it, question first, should you share it? I think that's my answer. And this is going to be my last response because I need to leave now. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you so much, Mr. Theo. Mr. Hilmi, you want to share what your view?
Okay, freedom of expression is important, but when it comes to human right, there, there, uh, that's where the line should be drawn. I mean, like, you can't just say anything like that in that community group in Facebook because it is against the law. It is against the human law, human right, right? I mean, like children should be protected. They are underage. They don't know anything, and that's their right. But this freedom of expression is a little bit gone too far. Makes and that's make people like have no limit. Express something in the digital spaces. Back what back to what I said before. This anonymity is really dangerous. In the social media era, in the digital space, because they are out of limit. They are breaking the human right, and they don't. I mean, like, where is the responsibility when it comes to the anonymous, right? We can just we can we can we cannot um mendakwa, what is it? We cannot judge people based on the anonymity. If if the if the if the regulator, such as a government, wants to arrest the account, it will be hard because it is anonymous. Yes, I mean, like, I think the line should be drawn when it crosses the human right.
Thank you, Mr. Helby. So the point is, the line is should be drawn when it comes to human rights. Like the point you pointed out how dangerous is anonymity in the social media, especially because people can do anything without known with everyone, right? So, do you have another different point, Miss Livia?
Yeah, hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think there should be like some limitation about like human freedom in terms of like morality, and I think like they have to know like what's the limit between that. And I think like this kind of fetish or whatever it is, I think it is going too far, because I think you have to know like what is I think the bare minimums of morality that you should have as a human. I mean, like you cannot imagine like having sex or doing explicit things toward your family. I think that is pretty um that is pretty wild, and I thought that it is your freedom to think about that, but never to speak about that. I think they should like just keep it in their mind, and that's totally okay, because everyone has their darkest mind and their darkest secret. But please don't share it in public, or don't share it in social media, and don't do anything about that, because that's gonna be so wrong. And I think that's the line between the morality in digital spaces. You could think or imagine anything that is so wild, but make sure that no one knows about that, and you don't do anything to that imagination. Just keep it in your mind, and I think that's okay. That's okay. But if you try to make it real, or put it into an action, that's gonna be, I think, the wrongdoing that's gonna be punished. Yeah, like people will people will think you as a, what is that, immoral person, and I think that's not allowed in our society, in any kind of perspective. That's so wrong. That's all, Miss. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Livia. So you tell us that every people have a darkest mind, the deepest mind, but you don't have to share it in the social media or publicly to anyone, because that's so dangerous and so wrong. So that's the borderline that people should have, right? Is anyone
Correct.
agree on? Yeah. So anyone agree or disagree or have different point of view about another about the other's answer? Okay. What do you think, Mr. Zaid? Oh, so who wanna share first? Mr. Zain.
Oh, okay. So I can agree with Calivia that she said that we have dirty mind, wild mind that perhaps beyond our control. Mm, yeah, as I said before, that feeling is natural, but my personal stance, even though I perceive it as natural, but it already if it already harms the people, other people, it already across the line. Like for example, uh, yeah, we all know that there are some fetishes, but when it involves people, I think it's already crossed the line. That's the point where you should start ask for help, to seek professional help. But uh, if we cannot find the help, I think as long as it doesn't harm people publicly, I think it's still uh, on our control. Like for example, Califia said that if you have that dirty mind, you just keep it to yourself, or don't let anyone know about that. So let's say, For example, if we have private account, perhaps we can make it a safe space to express our weird feelings, but still do not involve people. Do not post it publicly. So I think the boundary is clear. It is as long as we harm people publicly, then it already across the line, and it can be imposed by the law. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Zain. What do you think, Mr. Yazid?
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, basically the same as what the people was thinking about. I think it's quite clear that the expression are good, but morals are should. Even I could say that it's a must, right? In my opinion, the limit is at the state where your opinion is physically and nominally dangerous or not. Commonly, I said commonly, not prospectively. Well, I don't have any scientific proof like articles, etc., but fantasy could bring to a movement. If you're thinking that your opinions are normal because the communities are exist, your body is gonna move to really, really do it. You know what I think? Do you know what I mean, right? Yeah, that's all I got, Mr. Sanama. Thank you for the chance.
Thank you, Mr. Yazid. So any other opinion, guys?
I think we can move on.
Okay. We move on to another question. Now let's think about the solutions now. How should society respond? Are current laws enough to stop this? And how can we protect children from this? What kind of laws or public policy response do you think are necessary to deal with these dangerous online subcultures? So please feel free to suggest practical or policy-oriented ideas from you guys. Okay, Mr. Zain, you go first.
Okay. Perhaps I said before that the government already have done enough for making the regulation to regulate what people do online. But somehow, when I think again, especially when it comes to fragile people like children, I still think they could do more because I reflect back to my experience when I study in the UK. I had an experience of doing cultural exchange to a primary school, and at the time I wasn't allowed to take a photo or video or exchanging social media with minor. So I think we can do what other countries do when it's protecting children's privacy. Uh, we can make law to protect children's privacy. Like for example, I think it's kind of normal in our country. For example, a teacher they take students' picture even though they don't ask about the consent. It's not allowed in other countries. So perhaps we can what is it, copy or not copy, but I don't know how to say. Yeah, we can follow what they already have done to protect children. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zain. So Mr. Zain said government is already done enough to regulate to people online, which we all knew as UU ITE, but
Yeah.
it's still too fragile to children. Like maybe we can do more like another country like UK. We can just take a picture of minors. Also, the teachers also cannot do that too, right, Mr. Zaid?
Yeah. And also,
Yeah.
and I when I take picture and
Mhm.
it captures strangers, I try to blur because I don't have the concept
Ah,
at that time, so I learn more about consent since then.
so that's so strict there, right? But
Yeah.
not in our government, not yet.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Um, Mr. Aryun? You have another perspective about this? It's simple, just remove it or from RU PPKS. Or Miss Nadia, you can share your perspective about. Oh, Miss Dea. I'll let Miss Dea first, okay? Mr. Harris?
Thank you for
Okay.
the opportunity. To be honest, I don't really know about what kind of public policy to deal with the problem, but I agree with Mr. Zain's statement before, if I'm not mistaken. Perhaps I would like to add some comments. If we're talking about this problem, this is related to gender equality. If I'm not mistaken, some of the member of group say that they have a power because of be a father. Yeah, I'm too speechless to say that someone's, especially the child, should have a better life, have a good education, and also they dream at some stage. But yeah, it's deeply regretted, taken by their own parent. Yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Dea. That's interesting point about gender equality. So, Mr. Harris, what do you think?
I think that, in my opinion, Indonesian first. Sorry, but for me, I think Indonesian people, some of them are kind of weird. They want to gain popularity by just doing something weird, like dances or something, or do like stupid experiments. For me, I think that's not the right answer to be popular, because you can make like tutorial videos about making something out of wood or something, or about math or something. No, like that one time when, I don't know, an old teacher, he was like teaching from TikTok, and then like everybody suddenly like, wow, it's much easier to study with that guy because his characteristic is kind of like a grandpa, so he kind of explains it like to like the smallest detail. So people that normally wouldn't know the complex of mathematics, they know because of that old guy. And I really want the content creation in Indonesia would be like that, useful videos, like some dumb videos. And second of all, I think for the algorithm, they have to update it so that it would be, so that they would add a limiter for children to watch the lids. So it would be safe. And if people wants to watch, those weird stuff, they could just unlock it by themselves, so that, not like now. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. So, you guys have another opinion? What do you think, Miss Nadia?
Okay, I just joined and I hope I still can follow this. talking about how should society respond. I listened before. There was one of the speaker telling about that the government already done enough. In my opinion, I'm so sorry. I would say that government still far from its potential to reach people's understanding about what kinds of UIT it is, because even though we know that there is UITE, but still a lot of people produce such stages and communities online. They kind of feel like they are unseen by people because it's online. That's why I mean, they quite brave enough to make communities that currently being viral, right? And for now, it I mean, we can see that it is viral because a lot of people involve that to make it viral, to make people focus on that. Um, imagine imagine that this is not a new one. It's not a new one. Even recent news about those communities, they changed the name. It's banned, but they make a new one, meaning that even though we have policy, but it's not followed by the society. It's not followed by citizen, and it takes long time to acknowledge people that it's good and not. As Indonesian, we have our social norms, which we born and live with very strong roots, saying that we have to show tolerance to each other, showing dignity to each other. However, when it comes to online platform, some people feel like they have their free space to share such disgusting things, which, uh, which I would say that it's also part of the government to not only making policy but also to acknowledge people that we have that policy, so that after that all of the people will not only know but also follow it, even in real life or by online. So we have the law, but not all people know how to reach the law, because I would say that for normal people or even people who just only consider one platform like Facebook only, um, they only know how to use the platform without noticing the terms and reference on having that platform. So I would say that still far still far from the potentials of having good law for Indonesian. And also, what I can see from Indonesian people is we give so much attention to stupid people, and that's why this community, I mean, we have to focus on how to stop them rather than making it viral. And I mean, they go viral, they change the name, and they can still have opportunity to make a new one. The focus is how to make them realize that it's disgusting and they have to stop, right? And that's what we need now. Unfortunately, still people can make a new one in the same platform, even they switch it to another platform, meaning that people are unaware, and people are just pretending that they are care, but outside of that, it can be our close person doing that, but we don't know because it's in the community. But personal, person to person, they can discuss about that behind. So I would say that we have to, um, besides of having the law, the policy, the law, we also have to encourage that as Indonesian, we have that dignity and tolerance. And I also want to consider about the gender. We have to also see other people not only as an object, but as human, which is part of the life. So we have to support them. I mean we cannot say bad thing or showing disgusting thing like that in the even though it's in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Nadia. That's the interesting perspective from you. So you say the government is not enough strong. The policy is not enough strong for the society, right? That's why we need to acknowledge people, acknowledge the society, not just make the policy, but we need to acknowledge people to not to do that because that's a disgusting things. and people can just move on to another platforms. They use Facebook just because they just know how to use Facebook, not the other platforms, but we just don't know what about other platforms. They can just share the disgusting things there too, right? That's a good point. That's a good perspective from you. So, you guys have another opinion? Mm. Oh, what do you think, Mr. Oh, Mr. Zain?
Yeah, sorry. I agree with Kak Nadia. Yeah,
Yeah.
that yeah, she mentioned about the government roles, especially about the regulation. We already have inf electronic information transaction, and we also need to acknowledge people. But if I may add, it's the law enforcement that we have to improve, because uh, right now we still haven't heard about someone who is getting captured for or being responsible for that, right? So I think the problem is the law enforcement. And also again, uh, as a society, how could we respond? I just want to reaffirm my statement that we have to learn about consent. Yeah, especially when it involves minors, because uh, I would say that I'm a good babysitter. I play often with children, and I also love to share some updates with them, but I always ask for their parents, and I also ask the consent from the children themselves, whether is it acceptable to upload them or not. So yeah, I think uh, aside from the government roles, what can we learn from as a society to learn about consent, especially when it involves minors? Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Zain. So, do you guys have another point of view to share?
Uh, I want to I want to
Okay,
share
Mr.
my thought.
Tommy? Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay, how should society respond? I mean, like, yeah, society should punish the the this predator. What else can we do? I mean, beside the prevention, and we as society also need to ask our friend whether uh, our closest friend, of course, whether they have this kind of what is it called, fetish, yeah, something like that. And we should tell them, just start from our closest friend. Maybe I don't know, maybe our closest friend is one of them, and we should tell them that it is wrong to do that. And um is the current our current laws is are current law enough to stop? I mean, it's not enough, because the just like I said before, the current law uh cannot prosecute the anonymous. But with what's going lately in Twitter, and there is this user who posts a meme on his Twitter, and suddenly she is arrested because of that. But however, she is anonymous in Twitter. So the the conclusion is, our government can do that. Can arrest the anonymous. They just need to They just need to do more effort, and also we need a clear regulation whether it has crossed the the human right or not. But I think this case is very clear. I mean, like there child predator. The fetish is very clear. I mean, like this for targeting them will not be really hard. Um, yeah. The government can start with the member of the group, I guess. Yeah, that's from me.
Okay, what do you think, Miss Aulia?
Okay, thank you for the chance. I think we can protect our children if we did some preventive action. We must consider our children age before giving them gadget, and after we giving them gadget, we also have to monitor their screen time. If our children still under age, I think we didn't need to give a gadget to them. And then, uh, how do you say selama perkembangan our children, I think we also need to educate our children, like what's the content, and then we also need to give advice about positive content and then negative content. And for the government, I think especially Ministry of Communication, I think the government need to check the platform in Indonesia, every platform in Indonesia. How do you say, baik itu Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and then other link. If the platform have bad content, I think the minister need to ban that platform. So if our children get the link, they still they cannot open the link. That's all from me.
Thank you, Miss Aulia. Thank you guys for those thoughtful ideas. Now let's move on to the next question. Now we considering the social institutions. So the question is, what role should schools or religion play? Do you think when our people become more religious, this circumstance can be prevented or avoided? Which of the religiosity or more visible policy design matters more than other? So your reflections on cultural and institutional influence are welcome here. Or you have another point of view. Can I hear your? Oh, okay, Mr. Zain.
Okay, I think we all agree that schools or religions are places that we perceive as place to what is it? Produce or to apply or to educate norms. But unfortunately, these places sometimes, few times, or maybe often, become the place where the tragedy happens. Like, I mean, the sexual harassment perhaps uh, once ever happened in pesantren. sorry, this is if this is what is it? Sensitive, but yeah, I myself also came from pesantren, but yeah. Mm, so at this point, we have to differ between knowledge and practice. Even though we know that religion or schools are that we perceive as place of norms, but we have to learn about the difference between practice and knowledge, because some people they already know the knowledge, but still in the practice or in the reality they don't practice what they know. So how could we prevent, or how could we avoid this circumstance? I think we have to learn, or we have to improve about social control or law enforcement. As I said before, that the law is already clear, but I think we as the society, we have to uh, control, we have to take part as a control in our society, our social, especially when it involves minors. So, like for example, if we want to uh, if our children want to attend school or pesantren, we don't have to rely on teacher, or yeah, or on the teachers, because we also have our parts, we have responsibility to control, to monitor the education there. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Zain. So, you said we need to uh, have a have no difference between knowledge and the practice, and we as a society need social control. So when it involves the children or minors, right? So let her another perspective from Miss Nadia.
Okay, Miss, this one is interesting. What role should schools or religion play? I believe nowadays people spend more time, especially children, spend half of their time at school, right? Starting from kindergarten until university. But I do agree with what Mr. Zane said, that school is not a safe place anymore. Even um, even religious place like mosque or church, some cases unfortunately happen there. So I would say that religion. I mean, we don't focus on the place itself, because anywhere can be dangerous for any kinds of gender, from any um backgrounds. I mean not only for children but also until adult, are very dangerous everywhere now, at school, at public places. And so social control is very important, but I also want to add that besides of school, controlling or giving basic foundations of this content, about understanding people, about how to put empathy to people as well, is very important in family. So we have to encourage more family to be open. And um I kind of realized that some students are sent to school, name it like international, expensive school, expecting that they will go out from the school as a good people. However, in Indonesia, it's not spread evenly. So there is a gap if we talk about education. But if we have strong community for preparing them from family, in their house between parents to their children, it'll minimize the risk of that, because the effect of that will be seen outside of the house. But how do they show their behavior is actually the foundation is actually trained at home. So expectedly, I don't think that more religious more religious people means that it can be avoided, even though we know that Indonesia is one of the Muslim country, but it doesn't mean that the case is minimized now. So the most important thing is, how do we create safe places for children to learn from their houses, so outside of their house they can see that whatsoever happened in the society, they know what to do. And I do agree, when it comes to practical and theory is very different. So of course, but still, the theory that they learn at home is very important to be applied at outside of the house. So first of all, we have to prevent it for giving them understanding at home. So other places like schools or public places can be followed, but don't expect too much, because we cannot control how school can create that. Even though we send not our children, I have no children now, but I mean, yeah, children nowadays, even though they spend more time at school, it doesn't mean that school also good places for them to build such character. So home, the family, mothers are very important for building their character at home. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you, Miss Nadia. That interesting one. So you say that we need to create a safe place for children inside or outside school, since the school is the place that children mostly spare time in their life, right? So is there any of you want to tell your another view? Okay, maybe let's move on to the next question, which this is the final to wrap up our discussion. Now, the question is, how does the normalization of incest fantasies online threaten real-world safety, especially for women and children? Do you think people engaging in such groups see their behavior as harmless fantasy, or is there always a risk of escalation? Who wanna telling us the perspective first? Okay, Mr. Furry.
Okay, thank you for the chance. My opinion is quite short because I've been told about this before in the like 2 slides before, right? That that the way we are thinking is the way we will do something. Yeah, that's what I take from this kind of thing. And if there are some people that think that this is harmless, it's only a fantasy. Fantasy could bring us to really do something. I think that's my opinion, but thank you. Maybe anybody could give another perspective.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Faris. So you believe that the way we're thinking, the way we can do something too, and fantasies can be the can get give the effect to the real world too, right? Does anyone have different perspective? Like, let's consider the real life impact and the risk involved with those fantasies. What do you think, Mr. Aryun? Mr. Aryun?
Hello, hello. Check my audible. Check am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wrong me. Yeah, I appreciate Sunshine who becomes the host tonight. Thanks for the chance given. Um, how does the normalization of incest fantasies online threaten real world safety, especially for limited children? Do you think people teaching such groups solutions? I assume that um harmless fantasy like online is you can filterize the way how some individuals, some people are online 24/7. If the previous speaker gave comment related to we have to educate the children and blah blah blah, I I don't think so. If the parents are not well educated or open minded, can actively educate the children with how the children or are using social media 24 hours because even let's say that the parents set up YouTube Kids, but the advertisement will appear related to some interesting. So yeah, it might be checks and balance. Even uh, they the parents put the children into religious places, schools, because it doesn't guarantee 100%. So that it might be better for checking between the parents and the teachers if they put the children kids in the boarding house or even boarding school. Personally, see my nephew stayed in a boarding school and it, let's say bullying in a boarding school, and I try to clarify what kids inevitable if the parents do not check it. I mean, fully put the children in a boarding place. Come back to this one. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe what we can try to prevent is by using education. Try to challenge their biases or the stereotypes. If the people or the human resource are open-minded, whether they whether they are putting the children or the kids into religious place or schools, whether private school, state school, they can challenge the stereotypes or can protect themselves in digital era right now. But as opposed to them have no have no solution.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aryun. That's so interesting thought that. Uh, Next, does anyone want to build that idea or share another idea. Mm, okay, Mr. Aryan.
Okay, thank you. I will give an additional opinion related to this one because uh, I have uh, addition prior to that online can be one of the keys to cleanliness thing. What I mean is, let me give an analogy. For a student or I mean college students, if they are too much flexing or head on in their style, so they will get trapped on how to say loan or online loan or pinjol, let's say pinjol. And when they are getting trapped on loan or pinjol, if they are a college students, of course, then they require a numerous money to pay their university fee uh, soon without delay. But the short way online loan, okay, thank you. In the short way, they will go to online prostitutions. It's inevitable. Why I assume like this one? Because my friend is how to supplier on the online prostitutions. That's the case. He told me if he is delighted to meet some youth, especially for women, if they are head on, whether to let's say to watch what's going to be viral, it's going to some coffee shops many times, let's say 3 times a day. It doesn't balance between income and and my friend is truly delighted because they will get trapped with the online loan and he will offer to the tour, do you need a fast money to pay your university fee? He will offer to them to meet some clients. And it happens in my city. It's been 5 years. He will supply he will supply the woman to some prominent people. I don't want to mention some institutions. It will be banned. The sunshine to some prominent people. That's why it's written. Yes, whether women or children or the youth, the how to say the scariest thing is the spouse sells the wife because lack of job opportunity and lack of skills and yeah, that's the choice to do the bad thing or the worst case. And it is true, and actually it is fact based on my friend who becomes suppliers. And
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aryan. I think Mr. Aryan perspective is the last perfect perspective that we can heard today. So you guys, let's love and protect every child. They deserve a safe world. And I do hope that I can be as great and open-minded as you all. And uh, I wish you all the best. Good night. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I give the time back to Mr. Sunshine to lead the end of the discussion.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Miss Hannah. Let's give a round of applause for our moderator tonight. Okay, thank you so much. So before closing, we're going to share with you several feedback as her inputs for us to um, evaluate. Yeah, the way we speak. Okay, I think it should be feasible now. Ya, Komdigi itu bisa menggunakan Minister of Digital Communications or Communication or Minister of Digital and Information Technology. Itu ya. Kemudian juga penggunaan but and so itu masih perlu ditingkatkan agar lebih teknikal ya. Gitu. Jadi penggunaan but itu bisa menggunakan however atau unless atau otherwise. Ya, jadi contrastingnya semakin lebih signifikan. And-nya itu juga bisa menggunakan kayak given that, with that in mind, that being said. Gitu. Soalnya bisa pakai hence, thus, therefore, thereby gitu. Jadi harus lebih banyak variasi ya. Itu tryouts di beberapa linking words yang lebih advance biar ada peningkatan. Itu. Kemudian juga ada yang beberapa teman-teman yang struggle dengan pengucapan itu bukan should atau would, itu sederhana banget. Itu OLD itu kita baca UD aja gitu ya. SH dibaca sha. Should, would, could gitu. Sederhana banget. Itu bukan blunt tapi plain ya untuk pronunciation-nya. Mengandung itu bisa banyak banget. Itu ada 3 di antara yang bisa pakai contain, consist of, comprise of. Itu kelalaian itu bisa negligence, carelessness, ignorance, pemikiran jangka panjang, itu long term view, long term impact, long term perspective, itu ya. Kemudian warga negara bisa pakai citizen. Alright, I think that's it. I will close this screen. Now I'm going to share. Can you please speak something, Miss Hannah? So that I can screenshot you with the certificate of appreciation. Give me a smile. Okay, all right. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another style. Count of 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Same style. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunshine, for the opportunities.
Yeah. Okay, everyone. Now I'm inviting you all to open your camera and we can start taking pictures together before closing the session. Right, we have. Okay, I think this kid goes somewhere. It's the last moderator. I'll come back. Okay, so yeah, and soon's gonna be moderator. Okay, Mr. Zan, Mr. Helmi. All right. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. We're going to take the pictures together on a count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Okay, one more time. Give me your best smile on the count of 3. Different style. 1 of 3. All right. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining our this week discussion. Especially thank to Miss Hannah for saving us. Hence, we have our discussion with such a interesting topic. So I think that's all for our discussion tonight. See you again in the next OTA weekly discussion. And bye-bye. Have a very good night. See you all. Have a nice Monday.
Hello,
And before
Ota.
that, yeah, hello Ota. When I say hello Ota, you guys say
The classic
yesterday
drink.
Satura. So I say hello
Thank
Ota.
you, guys.
Yesterday we say
Yesterday, say
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow is Monday.
Tomorrow is
I love
Monday.
it.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you,
Hannah.
guys.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
all. Bye bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
See you.
Everyone, see you next week.